Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. The website, arhq.com. The financial website, MarketWatch, posted 15 questions that you should ask before you hire a financial advisor. 8 of them had something to do with how that advisor would be paid. Nolan, what advice do you give listeners when picking a retirement plan advisor for a financial advisor when it comes to their retirement?
Yeah, when you think about how do I choose a retirement plan advisor or how do I choose a financial advisor for retirement, I do think that this is areas that people should be asking these important questions. When we look at it, what I would say, first of all, is ask for references. And, in today's society of technology, it makes it kind of easy where you can go online and get a lot of this information. So, like, as an example, anybody who's considering working with our company, I would encourage you to go on Google, type in America's Retirement Headquarters, and read our Google reviews. Find out what people who have interacted and or worked with our company have said about us on Google. But take that a step further. If you're going to interview a financial professional and you're going to want to work with that professional, ask them to provide you 5 references. Now, again, I think these references probably should be current clients, maybe longer-term clients. They could be 2 professionals that they work with, like an accountant or an attorney. But call them and talk to them. And it's not so much about, I think, asking the question about performance, because it's more about, how responsive are they? How are they at proactively educating you and keeping you informed to life's changes and the different things that are happening? How responsive are they to your needs? How well do you understand what the plan is that they put together for you? So call those references, ask them for their experiences, talk with them and find out. You can learn so much more by having that conversation. It's well worth it when you're considering this as a major financial decision. Next is you want to ask if they charge fees for their services. Nobody works for free, and if they're not charging fees, they're going to be making money from the sale of financial products. A good example like this is, Scott, who's, extremely busy with dealing with helping people during the annual enrollment period with Medicare, is he does not charge a fee for his services. In fact, he gets paid from the insurance company. So whether the individual calls the 800 number or whether they work with somebody one-on-one, a lot of people choose to work with Scott on a one-on-one basis because they can sit down face-to-face with somebody who knows them and their family versus calling an 800 number. And either direction the consumer goes, there's not a fee for services that AMA offers under the Medicare. Where in my particular situation, we oftentimes will have consulting services fees. So if we need to develop a financial plan for somebody, there could be a cost associated with the amount of time it's going to take to develop that financial plan. When we're looking at ways to help them better manage their money, give them advice and recommendations on their company-sponsored retirement plans, building out the independent income system, looking at working with their accountant and being proactive on tax planning, looking at things like working with their estate planning attorney and figuring out how to get those 2 areas to line up together, insurance reviews, and developing that binder of an overall approach. There are also going to be times where people work with us and they're asking us to make investment decisions with picking out investment portfolios. And, in those type of portfolios, we might get paid a fee for the management of the portfolio. So again, nobody works for free, and I think it's important to make sure that you understand how that individual charges for the services. If they don't charge for a fee for their services, ask them how they're going to make sure that advice is in their best interest. I mean, this has been a topic of conversation for the last couple of years, but, make them tell you and analyze the situation and what is the process that they go to arrive at recommendations. What you don't want to hear is that, how your money and finances are treated kind of the same in every situation. I have been to other financial events in the industry where everybody gets a Swiss Army knife. And I can tell you for a fact, everybody's situation is unique, and they need to have a detailed action plan that addresses your unique individual goals and concerns and give you choices and explains the pros and cons to each of those choices. Then and only then are you going to be able to make an educated decision about what is the best choice for your situation. Number 5 is, ask them if they can provide products as well as provide financial planning advice. And the investment professional says yes. It's not necessarily a negative. However, you should recognize that this is a potential conflict of interest. Most financial professionals like myself, we provide something called an ADV brochure. Within that ADV brochure, it outlines what are the potential conflicts of interest that could arise in that relationship. So if you're going to work with a licensed investment professional advisor or representative, you want to ask them for a copy of the ADV. Take a look at their conflicts of interest. Again, I think the flip into that is a lot of people like the fact that, we're a comprehensive one shop where we can take care of everything for people that are close to or in retirement time. We do the financial planning advice. We can also help them implement the advice and help them develop that plan. So again, there's pros and cons to it, but the conflict of interest, you need to make sure that you understand what those are. They're typically disclosed in somebody if they have an ADV, if they are a licensed investment advisor or representative. If the financial professional sells products, ask if those products can be prepared if no plan is put together. Buying financial products without a plan is like having surgery without an exam. I mean, we have, in my opinion, some rock solid investment choices when it comes to the portfolios we manage overall within the market. But that doesn't mean that portfolio is just right because somebody said, hey, go buy their investments because they've done really well for me. Call me crazy, but I'm sure you wouldn't want to have a doctor operate on you until you knew what was wrong. And a doctor to perform a surgery without an exam would be an idiot. The same would be true with a financial professional who wants to sell you some type of product without an analysis. And so when you go in for a first meeting, they're already trying to get you to buy financial products. That little uncomfortable feeling that you have going off is the right feeling. That's probably a salesman. And in many situations, if you need to make that decision right away, you're going to get garbage in and garbage out. The best thing that you can do is develop a plan, not make decisions immediately about buying a financial product. You want to ask if the investment professional, if they sell products, if it's a problem, if they implement those strategies with somewhere else. Again, notice how they react to that. If the investment professional tries to convince you that you can't implement these strategies somewhere else, you need to understand that how that plan is completed. If they have the faith and ability in their own plan, most likely that'll continue on. Where I run into that a lot is people that I would call do-it-yourself investors. There's a lot of people that we work with that have built up their own investments over time. And I have no problem working with do-it-yourself investors. They sometimes just want a second opinion. They want to learn about some of the software, some of the tools and technologies that they have. They just want somebody like me and our team leaning over their shoulder and helping them to avoid some blow-ups, making sure that they're able to take advantage of what the opportunities that are out there. And in addition to that, it's very common in a husband and wife situation, you might have one of the spouses who's strong in the finances, and so they want to have a relationship with somebody like our firm in case, heaven forbid, one day they pass away. They know that they have a trusted relationship with an advisory firm that spouse can go to and help guide them through that remaining process. If they're going to charge you a fee up front, a consulting services fee, ask them if that fee how much they have to pay up in front. I would tell you generally you want to pay no more than 50% of the fee up front. Oftentimes retainers are required, but most professionals are not going to require you to pay 100% of that fee up front. You want to ask about the financial professional's background. Ask, how long they've been in business. What does their typical client look like? I know when I started in this business 29 years ago, the amount of knowledge that I had versus today is dramatically different. I know that my area of expertise is helping people transition to retirement time. So when I have questions that come up about paying for college, I know that's an area that's maybe out of my league. I pick up the phone and I call one of my other advisor friends like Jeff and get advice on late stage college planning. But knowing that background is important because, again, retirement is a point in your life that you only get one shot at getting it right. And you want to work with somebody, in my opinion, that kind of specializes in that area. The next thing you want to do is talk about what is the analysis process that they go through and what happens if the output is not to your expectation. We typically are going to have that first meeting where we're talking about people's goals, objectives, what do they want to accomplish in the next year. We're going to take and we're going to do that analysis and we're going to develop that team action plan and provide the series of recommendations. Somebody could look at those series of recommendations and they could say, you know what, Nolan, I appreciate that. That's not what I thought I needed, or I feel comfortable with what I'm doing today. Or sometimes we tell them, look, what you're doing today is good. We close the file. They don't owe us anything. So you want to know, what happens when that analysis doesn't meet your expectations. You want to find out how they keep up with constantly changing the financial environment that's out there. Where do they get their research from? Do they attend industry events? Do they go to workshops? Do they go to classes? Learn about the team members. What are the areas of expertise that the team members bring to the table? Is it a one-person, one-advisor shop and they have an assistant, and so the one person is in charge of running the business as well as picking investments as well as managing your portfolio? Or do they have a team process in place, and that team approach can help you kind of develop a process to make sure each person is looking out for these? So then you want to ask the financial professional how many clients they have and how many new clients that they plan on taking on. It's almost impossible to handle thousands of clients with a high level of professional service, so you want to find that out. And then that final question is to ask them what professionals they bring in on outside cases. Do they work with other attorneys, accountants? How do they, get other professional guidance together to make it all happen? So a lot goes into